Wow, talk about a blast from the past. Can anyone else remember this book? Food Processor Cooking, Sainsbury's. When was it published? 1984. Am I showing my age? This was used an awful lot when I was young, and I was trying to think, what could I make with all this pastry I've made? And there's one in here which we did a lot. In fact, I probably made this more than anything else when I was younger. And it's using that Sweet Flan Pastry. So it's the 18th Century Tart. Let's see, do I have all the ingredients? Let's find out. Let's see, okay. 75 grams of butter. Yes. 75 grams of sugar. Yes, hopefully. 4 egg yolks. Yes. Candied peel. Ah. I just thought I had some. Oh, well, this'll do. No candied peel, but I found this candied ginger, which will change the flavour somewhat, but I think it'll still be good. Okay, we've got grated rind of 1 orange and 1 dessert apple. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, great. Got everything. Okay, I can get cracking. Let's see, roll up the pastry on a floured surface, obviously. So I'm just going to move this over there. Do that first. So if your pastry has been in the fridge, then you need to take it out 5-10 minutes before you want to use it. Give it time to loosen up. If it's been in the freezer, you need to get it out the morning of, I'd say. Or, you know, and it's got to completely defrost. If you're just picking this up now, basically in the last episode, I made a bunch of pastry, one of which was this Sweet Flan Pastry. So if you want to know how to make really good homemade pastry from scratch, go check out that video. I'll put a link up above, something. There we go. Right, so let's start off with a bit of a circle, and then it will keep its shape, hopefully, as you roll it out. Need a bit more flour. Plenty of flour on the work surface, on the dough, and then you want to keep it moving. So every time you roll a bit, keep the pastry moving. Oh dear, it's lost its shape. If it does that, just try and bring it back in with your hand like that. A bit more flour. Keep it as round as possible, and then when you actually put it in your case, you don't waste too much having to trim. So there we go. It's not too bad. How are we doing? Ooh. Bit more. Perfect. You always want to do it slightly more, because as you handle it, it will continue to sort of stretch back in a bit. So what you can do here is roll it onto the rolling pin carefully, put the dish underneath, and then pastry goes on. Then you want to get into the corners, right down in. It's quite a soft pastry, this one. So as you can see, we've got a bit of a funny edge going on here. I'll show you a tip on how to fix that. You see here, we've got a little bit extra than what we would need. And here, there's not quite enough. What you can do is you can take from the extra bit, so carefully cut that off with a knife or maybe even scissors. And then if you dampen this with a bit of water along that edge, then this can go onto the bit where there's missing. And it just sticks right in there. Now make sure it's really properly sealed. Right, now for the edge, Not got the neatest pastry skills, if I'm honest. Maybe I was better when I was younger. Right, for the edge, what you want to do is you want to bring it in a little bit. So pushing in this excess dough to form a little bit of a lip. And then any extra excess bits we're going to cut off. So do you see there's a little bit of an extra layer of pastry there rising up? So now you could do little pinches like that. I do that really a lot of the time. Or another one that's actually super easy is if you just get a fork and do this kind of diagonal pattern. I think that's pretty effective. There we go. Also with the fork, we're going to prick the bottom lightly. You're not going all the way through. It just helps prevent it from making any bubbles when the pastry bakes. Okay, and now this needs to rest again. Now, if I'm honest, I don't always do it, but it's so much better if you rest your pastry after you've rolled it out. It's almost more important doing it now than before. Because what happens, we've messed with that gluten and it's got all excited. And so it's going to, as soon as you put it in the oven, it's going to want to squeeze in and it will come away from the edges. So if we rest it now for an hour or two in the fridge, then some people even put it in the freezer, then it'll behave much better when we come to bake it. All right, my tart case is sufficiently rested now. It's been in the fridge for a couple of hours. So I'm just getting the rest of these ingredients together. It's actually really, really easy. First, I'm going to do the orange zest. Top tip with orange zest, you may have already heard me say this before. When you zest an orange or a lemon, you want to try and turn at the same time as zesting. If you do it in one spot, I'll show you, if you just stay in one spot like that and zest that area, what happens is you go down to this white bit and that's much more bitter and you don't want that in your cake, in this case the tart. So you want to try and keep that moving when you're scraping. And if you missed any areas, just go over them again at the end. There we go. That I'm just going to move to one side. Then, same grater. I'm not even going to bother chopping this up. You don't have to peel it, it says. You just grate the apple. Obviously, you're not going to put the core in. Taking me right back. And finally, this ginger. There we go. So I just want to slice this quite thinly, because candied peel is already sort of sliced up, isn't it? Love that smell of ginger. We've got the orange zest there too. Oh, this is going to be really good. Right, so we've got our 3 bits there. The ingredients are ready. Okay, so you get my mixer, and this old Magimix thing is probably almost as old as the book. As simple as putting sugar, butter, egg yolks in here and then blending it. So that's 4 egg yolks, 75 grams of butter, 75 grams of sugar. Blend away. Now the book says process until pale. Well, it is already pale, but you can see there's still a bit of butter left there. Sometimes when you're doing a food processor, it's good to scrape down the sides from time to time. You see that's not fully mixed in there. Okay, good, done. Now I'm going to put in the candied peel, or ginger in this instance, and the zest, but not the apple. And then just burst it for a short amount of time. It's just going to mix it in. I think that's good. All right, okay, we've got our mix. Okay, pastry case. Here it is. Now, we don't want to have a soggy bottom. Nobody wants a soggy bottom. This is the classic thing. One of the ways you avoid that is by doing what's called a blind bake. Now, what a blind bake is you put it in a piece of paper and baking beans, and you bake it. It's blind because it's hidden, I guess. So you bake it for part of the time. Now, this recipe doesn't say to do that. And I know from experience, this pastry is quite soft. So I'm not going to blind bake it, but I'm going to do a few things just to sort of help guarantee we don't get that soggy bottom. Firstly, I'm going to brush it with egg. Now, this is particularly true if you do a blind bake and you don't want that soggy bottom. After you've done that bake, you brush it with egg and then pop it back in for 5 minutes just for the egg to cook, so it creates a kind of a seal on the pastry. This will do it a little bit just by virtue of being next to that pastry, but it won't be as effective as if the pastry was already partly cooked. I'm also going to put egg wash on these edges as well, which will help them to golden up in the oven. So the second thing I'm going to do to help guarantee against the soggy bottom is you can put a bit of breadcrumbs, or even polenta works as well, on the bottom. This is a technique you would do probably in a meat pie. And because this is nice and dry, it helps soak up the excess liquids there on the bottom. So just like that. Then this mixture, it's sort of a custard really, into here. And then this apple goes on top. Just want to sprinkle it around in an even layer. Right. And then the other thing I've done to help with the soggy bottom is I've actually put a pizza stone in the oven, and then I've put the oven on bottom heat, so it cooks from the bottom up. This is going to go in there for about half an hour. Looking forward to it. Oh, look at that. I wish you could smell it. Well, that took longer than expected. It was actually in the oven for about 45 minutes, and I think that's probably because the bottom heat takes longer than just having it on a fan oven. So bear that in mind if you do use the bottom heat. And I've taken a peek. Actually, look, it does have some color on it. Anyway, let's see how it tastes. Really good. That ginger is really subtle. You can just cut through. But yeah, definitely as good as I remember it being. Such a good one to put those new pastry skills to the test. And it's going to be a winner if you have friends over for dinner or something like that. So easy and really quite simple. Thanks to that old cookbook. I'm not sure how authentic it is as far as being an 18th century tart, but it's got the feel for it anyway. Well, do you have a favorite go-to recipe? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Maybe it'll be one for a future video. So guys, keep cooking and make sure to like, subscribe, I'll see you in the next one.